This is a presentation of the Sports Source Digital Network, presented by Hearthside Bank.
What should Tennessee fans expect from their quarterbacks production-wise in the season opener against Syracuse? I'm John Pennington. This is the Sports Source Digital Network. I'm joined by VFL Marlon Vols and by Jimmy Hyams right over there. And that's the question I want to debate right now. I'm going to go ahead and put this, we're going to jump right in. I'm going to put the numbers on the screen so folks can look at it. You guys have got them in your hands there. What I did was I wanted to see, and of course Syracuse is a Power 4 school, so I wanted to go back and look, Tennessee starters under Heupel in their first start against a Power 5 team. All right. So for Nico Iamaleava, that was against Iowa, and that was actually his first start overall in the Citrus Bowl. And you see his numbers, 12 of 19, 151 passing yards, touchdown, interception, 27 yards rushing. Now, he had 6 sacks in that game, people forget about. But 3 rushing touchdowns, which kind of everybody focused on. Hendon Hooker, his first start against a Power 5 team was his second start overall. He went against an FCS school, and then he went up against Florida. 13 of 23, 221 yards. 56% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 23 rushing yards. So good-ish, not what we came to get from Hendon Hooker later.
Yeah.
Joe Milton, his second start, or it was his first start against Power 5. He started against Bowling Green, then went against Pitt, and he got lifted in this game. And it was due to injury, but I talked to people who said it was more of an injured ego thing because there were a lot of overthrows. And it was like, Joe, you hurt your ankle. Sit down. But anyway, 7 of 12, 50 yards, 58% completion, no touchdown, no interceptions, 54 yards rushing, no rushing touchdowns. So my question for you guys, if you're looking at Joey Aguilar in his first start, you've seen that the first starts here didn't blow anybody away. And all these guys had more than 3 months to learn that offense.
Yeah.
But I ask you, Marlon, is there a number on there that you expect to see? If you had to say, it'll probably be closer to this. Is there one of those that you think it'll hit?
Yeah. I'm going to do a process of elimination. I'm going to eliminate Joe Milton. I think he's going to be better than that. We know Joe also got lifted.
Yeah.
Or ego got lifted,
whichever
one we want to call it. And then I'm not going to go Hendon Hooker, 13, 23, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm leaning more towards Nico. 12 of 19, 151 yards, but 3 rushing touchdowns. When I think of this Syracuse game, it's a neutral site. Both teams are going to start of the season. We're going to kind of be filling each other out. I don't see him coming in and lighting it up, per se, with his arm. I see him kind of scrambling away, get some runs in there. I wouldn't say 3 touchdowns. I'm leaning more towards like he rushed for maybe 2 touchdowns. But I see the numbers right about where I'm thinking.
150 yards passing.
150 yards passing. Offense is kind of moving a little bit, but I think in some critical spots, he takes off with the ball. We get in the end zone. We win the football game. Builds momentum for the rest of the season is what I'm leaning towards.
That's where I am. I don't expect the passing attack to be real efficient right off the bat. You got a guy that's learning it. You have to be able to read defenses. Your receivers have to read defenses. You got to be on the same page.
Read them the same, yeah.
So I don't think you're going to see Tennessee throwing 35 passes in this game. Right. I think they'll be lean more on the run game and try to work Aguilar in the passing part of it. I could see him running for 1 or 2 touchdowns. Yeah. I could see him throwing for 150 yards. I could see him maybe rushing for 50. I think you'll see him running the ball a pretty decent amount.
Yeah.
Out of the zone read. I don't know about design runs, but out of the zone read or scrambling.
Yeah.
So I'm more with Marlon on this as far as his numbers looking more like Nico's than Milton's that were not very good. And Hooker, I don't see him throwing that many yards.
Agreed. And I think what you're talking about, you're also – those guys haven't thrown to each other a whole lot. Even now, those receivers are still mixing in reps with Merklinger. McIntyre's going to get a rep here or there. So it's not you're not going to have that chemistry, I wouldn't anticipate, in your first game.
Yeah.
And you mentioned he's going to run a lot. I think that would help this offense if your quarterback ran a little bit more. I thought Nico needed to run a little bit more last year. I thought Milton the year before could have run a little bit more. I just hope it's designed stuff, zone read, as opposed to Lance Hurd hasn't improved and your true freshman right tackle isn't getting the job done. I don't want to have to see him running like that. It's one thing to keep a play alive, but if he's running for his life, and there were times last year where Nico was just getting belted, if this turns into one of those things,
Scary.
that's not going to be good for the numbers either.
Well, and you mentioned that Nico was sacked 6 times against Iowa. You can't have that.
No.
You don't need him to have that kind of pressure on him. I also am curious about, with this new offensive line, pass protection is going to be interesting. And are they going to, as they have done in recent years, throw a whole lot more flanker screens as opposed to trying to go downfield? Maybe they don't feel the offensive line is ready to protect for 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see where they go there.
That's where I'm leaning towards with that 151. Maybe a couple cats break a couple of those and get some decent yardage, but I don't see us chunking it down the field like that. And just with you being new to the system, there's a lot of receivers that's getting their first start.
Yeah.
At the University of Tennessee in this offense, and we've seen that not bode well in your first season as a receiver. So I'm seeing more screen type deals, design runs, option type deal to get them going.
They really need Miles Kitzelman to be 100% right off the bat. They need Chris Brazzell to become the guy that everyone thought he was going to be last year. They need him to be a consistent leader in that receiving core, because they need somebody to step forward, because there's nobody proven.
And there's a chance that they may actually throw a couple of bombs to Brazzell that are snap and then boom, I'm throwing it real quick just to try to keep the defense honest a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's one thing people talk about, and we did this on the Sunday show a month ago, where we looked at the passing chart for Iamaleava versus Aguilar. Were you on that show? Or I don't know. We show, and here's the thing. A lot more deep balls. So that may be one thing that Aguilar is not going to worry. He's not going to be as risk averse as Nico was, which can work for you or against you. The problem is, I would normally think, okay, you'll hit one of those deep balls because that's your offense. But whereas you had 40 of those 30-yard plays 2 years ago or 3 years ago under Hooker now, you had 18 under Milton and 15 under Nico. So one a game?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe he hits a deep ball. And that's half your 150.
I'm going to be curious about this, and I think you would agree that Tennessee, with Milton and with Nico, didn't really throw a whole lot over the middle.
No,
slants or whatever. Okay.
Especially not with Milton. They stopped,
So when I interviewed Josh Heupel at the SEC spring meetings, he said one of the things that impresses him most about Aguilar is his accuracy throwing over the middle. So are they going to bring that back into the equation? And if they do, that can make them pretty dangerous, because when you do away with it like Tennessee did, a lot of teams didn't really have to cover the middle of the field.
That's right, and they had a lot of success with that on first and second down under Hooker. Those quick little so you're dealing with the 3rd and short, as opposed to how many times was Nico back there and it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. You know, a lot of times that's why in the second half you wound up, all right, just feed Sampson.
Yeah.
So all this talk about Aguilar, I'm guaranteed to get people that say it in the comments, and you're welcome to, or email me and say, what about Merklinger? You're just giving it to Aguilar. I think Aguilar's the leader in the clubhouse. I think they brought him in to be the starter. They keep saying it's going to be an open competition. But, Marlon, you've been on teams. Open competition, but this guy has all the first team around him. You can set up an open competition to get the guy you want.
Here's what I would tell you. As a defensive player on this team, 2025, we're looking to lead the team anyways, right? I think if you ask anybody that, who's going to lead Tennessee's defense, I want you to name that guy right now, because that helps us out, because that's going to help your offense out. They need to know who the guy is so that we can start working more with that guy. There's nothing worse as a defensive player than not knowing who the starting quarterback is going into fall camp. Because as a defense, we know we're going to lead the team. We're going to have to bail you out some. We don't want to have to do that too often, especially in the SEC, and we don't know who our quarterback is. So I would say the best thing for Heupel to do right now, you paid the guy to come in. You paid the guy because you expected him to play and to start. Name that guy the starter so that he can start getting continuity with those receivers and tight ends, so that as a defense, we feel more comfortable knowing who our guy is.
And then in the scrimmage, I hope he doesn't go 3 for 18.
Yeah.
Because if he pulls some of that, then Merklinger's 13 of 14.
Then you got an issue.
You do. So you need him to perform at a pretty high level right off the bat.
The players need to know that this was a legit competition, or even if you're stacking the deck for one guy. He's the ones going against the twos. He needs to make that happen. You go back to 2005, Eric Ainge. He was really good as a freshman. He came back and it was sensational as a junior and a senior. I think he would admit that sophomore year was a nightmare for him. In that camp, was it Rick Clausen that was up against?
Who outperformed
him. People on on the team knew it should have been Clausen. Fulmer went with Ainge because Ainge had the talent and had performed the year before. I understand it.
Bigger upside.
But it was an issue until
Ainge
lost the job. And I think that you can't fool around. If you're trying to stack the deck for Aguilar, and the reason I keep going there is Ollie Lane and Mike Stoll were on a show about a month ago with us, and they said, well, they've been involved in some quarterback competitions where the coaches decide who the guy is, and then they set it up to where he goes out and performs. But if you've got all the things in your favor and you're not performing, that is the nightmare scenario. If they decide Aguilar is our guy, and he still doesn't grab it and run with it, even though he's got the best offensive weapons when they're scrimmaging, that's an issue.
If that happens, I'm going to reverse my call from our first segment that you said if they got it right about where Tennessee is. I don't think that'll happen, but boy, if it does, then I think Tennessee's in for a long year.
Yeah. What do you think? You can tell us in the comments section. What do you think? What do you expect from Aguilar, Merklinger, if you want to go there? What do you expect that first game, the numbers against Syracuse, to look like? What do you expect Syracuse? Is that just a pushover of a game? You can let us know in the comments section. You can also click the thumbs up for us, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell. You do all that, and you're going to be my best friend, which I really appreciate. Be sure to check us out again when we are here next time on the Sports Source Digital Network.